Hi, I wanted to do a tutorial of the song Can't Get It Out of My Head by the Electric Light Orchestra on the guitar. I actually did like a ukulele tutorial of this about 8 years ago, and I was just kind of revisiting the song, and I thought it might be fun to show it on the guitar too. So there's no actual guitar track on the song. So what I'm kind of doing is taking the chords that are being played on the piano and kind of interpreting the song how you might play it on the guitar. And Jeff Lynne, when he plays the song live, he will play the guitar while singing. And I'll kind of point out how he's playing it, and I'll kind of give a couple different ways how you could also play it, because he doesn't always play a literal interpretation of some of the chords being played on piano on the original song. So I'll just kind of get right into it here. There's a short little intro part that is also the exact same chords used in the chorus, and I'll just play through it real quick. It goes like this. Okay, so that's the intro. And there's just 3 chords there that are repeating. So it's a C, a G, an F, and then back to G. And then that just repeats twice. So I'm just going to generally play this part with open chords. So open C, G, and I do kind of the 3-finger G, not the 4-finger G. I like the 3-finger G. And then I do a barred F chord most often here. So that being said, if you watch Jeff Lynne play it live, he tends to use kind of the more Jimi Hendrix style, playing with his thumb when he does a lot of chord positions. So he'll start with like a normal open C, but he'll play a G the same way you'd play a barred G chord on the 3rd fret, with your E major shape, just up 3 frets. Except he's doing it the Jimi Hendrix way, where you have your thumb on the thickest string, and then you're just kind of using your pointer finger to bar across the 3rd fret of the B and E string, like that. And then he'll just slide to the F chord, keeping that same shape. So he'll play it like... I have smaller hands, so I just kind of find it easier to stick to the open chord shapes. You can really use whatever chord voicing you want to use. I'm just, for the sake of completeness, showing you how Jeff might play it live. For most of the song, I just kind of do a down, up strum, which kind of matches the piano. So it goes down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. You can kind of, whatever feel you want to use for the song. Like I said, there's no guitar part on the recording, so it's kind of up to you how you want to interpret it. I just kind of mimic the pattern that's being played on the piano. So like I said, you play through that part twice, and then you get into the verse section. The verse, so I'll just kind of play through it real quick. It goes something like... and then it goes into the chorus. So the verse starts off on a C add 9 chord, which is just a C chord, but you're also adding a D, which is the 9th. So the way I play it is you're playing part of the C chord the same way you'd normally play it, but instead of having your pointer finger up on the 1st fret of the B string, instead you're going to use your pointer finger for the second fret of the D string, and your middle finger for the third fret of the A string. And then you're going to use, I use my ring finger to get the third fret of the B string. So similar to a C chord, but you're just kind of using different fingers. And instead of playing first fret of the B string, it's the third fret of the B string. It's kind of like if you took a G chord and moved all your fingers towards the center of the guitar one string. So instead of, you're just moving everything in, and then you're muting the low E string. So I should note that's kind of what's being played on the piano, is that C add 9 chord. When you watch Jeff play it live, he just sticks to like a regular C chord on the verse, kind of like he did on the intro and in the chorus. So it's also perfectly acceptable to play it like that. If you just find it easier, you can just stick to a C chord starting off there. But I play the C add 9 because if I'm playing it solo, it just kind of fills in the keyboard part a little bit more. If you're playing it with guitar and a keyboard, maybe you could just play a regular C there. Either one's acceptable. It's not going to sound wrong. It's just a little extra thing to get a little closer to the recording. So the first chord's a C there. That's C add 9. Hold that for 2 bars. Then you go to an A minor. I just play a regular kind of open A minor shape. So hold that for 2 bars. And then go back to the C add 9. Back to the A minor. And then you go to an F, and I just kind of do your normal barred F chord shape, but you could play it like Jeff and do kind of the Jimi Hendrix style thumb wraparound if you wanted. But it's 1 bar of F, then you go to D minor. I just do an open D minor shape. I tend to also let the A string ring out because that's just how I tend to play my D and D minor chords. That's not necessary or part of the song, but that's just how I tend to play it most often, just to fill it out a little bit more. So it's 1 bar. So you got your bar of F to your bar of D minor, back to F, and then you go to A minor for half a bar, and then to G. So it goes F, A minor, and then you go to the chorus. And the chorus is the same as the intro, just a little bit longer. So it's C, one more time. Alright. One thing I could note is that the keyboard, he's keeping a C in the bass for all those chords. I tend to not do that on guitar because it's really not that noticeable, so it's just kind of a little extra work and you don't really hear it too much. But theoretically, if you wanted to do it, the C chord stays exactly the same because you've already got your C in the bass. But for your G, you could put 3rd fret on the A string and then just kind of have your pinky on the 3rd fret of the high E string, and then you're kind of using your ring finger or whatever finger you're using to mute the low E string. And that's a G with a C in the bass, so just the 2 3rd frets there. So C to G with the C. And then for your F chord, what I normally do if I want to play F or C in the bass is I kind of act like I'm doing the thumb wraparound method, so I do that mini bar on B and E, but I just mute that low E string, and then you're just naturally playing a C. So it's just an F without playing the E string. So altogether that would be... So that's what's actually playing on the keyboard. Jeff doesn't do that on the guitar, and I don't tend to do it just because It's just kind of a little more work doing chords I'm not used to playing, and you can't hear it much. Of note though, the last time around on the chorus, when you do that pattern the last time, then the keyboard does switch to playing the regular, the bass note is the regular root of each of those chords, so F and G for those, so C. So then you can play it. So on the last time when he goes, can't get it out of my head, on the chorus, you can use the regular chords if you were using the C bass note versions of the chords before. So after the first chorus, there's a second verse, and that's exactly the same as the first verse. And the second chorus after that is exactly the same as the first chorus. After that, there's a little bridge section, and I'll just kind of play through it real quick. I'll do a little shortened version of it. I won't play the whole thing all the way through, but I'll give you an idea because it just repeats. So it goes. So what that is you're just starting on a C, and I'm playing that for 2 bars, and then I'm going to a C major 7, which is just lifting off your pointer finger for most people how they're playing a C. So you just have the 2nd fret on the D string and the 3rd fret on the A string, and then your B string is now just open. So C major 7. And then just a C7, which is just adding your pointer finger on the 1st fret of the B string again, like a normal C, but then you're also adding your pinky finger on the 3rd fret of the, was that the G string? Yeah. Alright, so 2 bars of C, 2 bars of C major 7, a full bar of C7. And on this part, I tend to just switch to a straight up and down strum. So the rhythm changes a little bit here, or you could just do straight down strums if you want. However you want to play it. I just find that kind of fits the feeling of this part of the song a little bit better. So that altogether, that's. So then it switches to an F7, so that's just a regular F, but just taking your finger off the D string. So that's 2 bars of F7. And then it goes to a G augmented chord. So that's just if you were playing a G, so you're going to have the 3rd fret of both your E strings, and then you're also going to put your pointer finger on the 1st fret of the D string, and then you're going to use what I'm using is my ring finger to mute the A string. And that's just adding a D sharp on the 5th there, so the 5th is a half step higher. I've heard some tabs I looked at called this they called for a G7 here, but I'm pretty sure it's actually a G augmented. That sounds a little closer to my ears on the recording. So it goes F7, 2 bars, and then the G augmented, and then it repeats. So it actually repeats 4 times, so it just kind of keeps going. So I'll play it one more time for you. Nope. And after the 4th time, there's this little part where it just kind of goes up the scale a little bit, and then it segues back into a verse. So after you play that G augmented, then after that it's a G sharp, and I usually play a G sharp just on the with your G barred shape, just up a half step, so it's on the 4th fret. There's other ways you can play a G sharp chord. I just kind of find this one easier. So maybe depending on how you decided to play the song, you could have also played that G augmented like this, and then it's kind of the transition to the G sharp is quite a bit easier. I just kind of find it easier to play the G augmented, the open shape, and then just slide up to the G sharp here. But then it goes G sharp, and then it goes to a B flat major. I just kind of do the normal way of doing this, where you just kind of bar across the first fret. You've got your barring on across the first fret, and then you've got your ring finger down across the third fret. It's just kind of the 2-finger version. You can do the full version like that. You could also go from the G sharp and just move it up a full step, so 2 frets. So that's another way you could do it, and then it kind of gives that nice ascending feel that you kind of hear in the song, where it's just kind of moving up. So altogether, it kind of, that last little bit going from the last F to the G augmented goes like. And then it just transitions back into a verse after that. So you've got that B major, the B flat, to the, I'm going to the C add 9 there. And then I'm going back to the strumming pattern I was using before. And then it's just another, the third verse is exactly the same as the first two. And after that, there's another chorus. The last chorus repeats for twice as long as the other two, so it just has another, 4 bars, and then it just repeats another 4 bars. And then at the end of the song, there's just one more time of doing the bridge pattern. So it's one more time of, and then it goes up, just, so I'm doing the higher B flat there. And then it just ends on a C. So you could do it just a regular C there. You could also play a C up here if you wanted. So it's, so whatever chord voicing you want to use. If you just want to use all bar chords, or if you want to, go something like that too, also works. So, all right, I hope this was helpful. Any questions, just let me know.